It's not what you possess out here that makes you beautiful. It's what you possess on the inside. A peacemaker, but y'all know what a peacemaker is? A peacemaker is somebody who declares war on anything that disturbs their peace. And the minute you mess up my peace,
don't let what you've done hinder you. Don't you let where you've been hinder you. Don't let what they've said hinder you. Don't you let your past hinder you. You're a woman without limits. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. A woman without limits. Yes, you are. There's nothing the enemy can do to stop what God has for you. There's nothing the enemy can do to stop what God has for you. You're a woman without limits. Woman, 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 woman without limits. Na 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 na. Woman without limits.
You only count stars at night. Somebody is in a night season right now. God is saying in this your night season, I want you to begin to count the blessing of the Lord that maketh rich and addeth no sorrow with it.
Hello there. I'm inviting you for the Daughters of Zion meeting. It's going to be on 27th of May. Now, if you want to know how the Daughters of Zion meetings have been, you better find out.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So just say, beautiful.
In your night season, God is speaking over your life. It doesn't matter how dark it is. The stars, if you can number them, then you can number where God is taking you.
Don't miss it for anything. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
Jesus' name above all names. Angels bow before your throne to worship you. Yeah. There is no one else like you. You are worthy of all praise. We worship you. Oh, yeah. Heaven declares your glory. Heaven declares your majesty. You are great, Lord. You are great. You are great. You are great. Lord, you are great. Oh, oh, oh.
You who reigns in all the earth, you are matchless in your world. We worship you.
evening, viewers. You are welcome to Woman Without Limits. My name is Kiuna, and it's a delight to have you tuned in tonight. I know that God is going to bless you. I tell you, the stories here are hot, sizzling, and amazing, and they are life-transforming. That's what Woman Without Limits is all about. And by the way, on that note, I wrote an amazing book. It's called Woman Without Limits. And it tells you that you can never be limited only by yourself. So get out of your way, believe all things are possible. This book it flies off the shelves. And I want you as a woman to have this in your library, because when you understand that nothing can limit you, I tell you, you are born with a purpose, you will discover that purpose, and you will fulfill it, whether the devil likes it or doesn't like it. In spite of who says you cannot do it, you can. The Bible says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So get yourself a copy of Woman Without Limits, and I know God is going to bless you. You can call the numbers on your screen for your copy. So today we have an amazing woman. Oh my gosh. She is making waves. She's doing some great and mighty things in the society. Her name is Nana Wanjau. She is the CEO of Branding Beyond Borders. You know, right now, branding is key. She is the CEO of Branding Beyond Borders. And so I want us to welcome her, because she's going to let you know how she got where she has gotten, so that you also can get somewhere in life. Would you please welcome Nana Wanjau with me? Hey, Nana. How are you?
How close?
Yeah, you can sit right there. And then let's talk. Are you comfortable?
Oh, perfectly.
Completely?
Yes.
Okay. It's nice to have you on the show.
Oh, it's wonderful
Woman
to be
Without
here.
Limits,
It
yeah.
is wonderful to be here.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So now we know you. I've been seeing you, and you're very strong on social media. I see you a lot on Instagram. I post something, and Nana is there. You know?
When you're trying to build something, you gotta
Yeah.
be deliberate. You can't just leave things to chance. So you gotta be deliberate.
Things don't just happen.
No, they don't just
You
happen.
make them
you
happen.
You make them happen.
Come on. Come on now. Come on. Preach.
I can see we have a lot to talk about.
I know, right?
Yes.
So tell us about Nana before you became CEO
Wow.
of Branding and Beyond.
By the way,
Yeah.
Nana is, this is nothing. What came before this
Yes.
is who really Nana is.
Okay.
And I'm happy to tell you, about Nana and where I come from.
I have a friend called Nana.
You do?
Gishaga.
Okay.
She's a good friend of mine. I'm wondering, is there any relation at all?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay, Nana.
But we are both fabulous Nanas.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So, Nana, in a nutshell, let me start by saying, this is how I describe myself, like on my Facebook page. When you go, I have said, I am made in God's own image, whole, complete, and irresistibly fabulous.
Hey! Irresistibly, guys. Irresistibly fabulous. That's awesome.
I mean, if you're made in God's own image, what else can you be?
Fabulous. Irresistibly.
Irresistibly.
Yes.
God makes no mistakes.
Yes.
So me, I'm irresistibly fabulous in God's
Amen.
own image.
Amen.
Yes, that's me.
I like that. Already we can flow because of that. Because that's what I tell women. That's who you are.
That is who
you
I
are
am.
fab.
Yeah. But I came from a small village called Bukoba. I do not know if you can find it on Google.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. It is on the shores of Lake Victoria on the Tanzanian side.
Oh.
Born to a Tanzanian mother and a Kenyan father.
So they met at the border there.
Hapana. Very interestingly, my mother was the first woman to be sent to University of Makerere. She went to study medicine.
Right.
My father was already there. My father also comes from Lake Victoria, but on the Kenyan side. So he went to study economics. My mother was sent to study medicine as the first female from this little Bukoba village. You can imagine what a huge deal it was.
No, that's big.
They went
That's
there,
big, yeah.
2 years into medical school. Boop, there is Nana.
You became the certificate. The medicine certificate.
Reverend, let me tell you, I'm such a believer that there are no mistakes in life.
No, they're not.
And unfortunately, you can only connect dots backwards.
Right.
When things are happening, you really never know why they're happening.
Right.
Even mistakes can turn out God's perfect image.
Absolutely.
But that time, going
Yeah.
back to Makerere University.
Right.
So there is Nana. My mom is expecting me in her 2nd year. And she had me. 2 days into having me, she took me to my grandmother. Took me to her mother. So I was raised by my grandmother, and she went right back to school. And I'm very proud of her because she went right back.
To school.
Went right back, graduated, went and did her master's. By the end, she was huge. She was, an ops guy, but she got her dream. She never gave up. So, you know, it's whatever happens in our lives, we need to remain positive because it's never the end, even if at the time it may appear to be the end.
Right. Because she was a little girl.
She was a little girl,
Yeah.
and here she is with a pregnancy. And it was a huge disappointment. Not
Medical doctor. You could
not
think.
just to my parents,
Yeah.
to her parents, but also to the entire community.
Because first and foremost, it's very costly.
Yes.
You're the first
You're the
woman
first
to
girl we've sent to
remove shame.
university.
And then you go ahead and just
Surely.
shame us. Yeah. I know.
So she had me, brought me back to her mother. And mothers, we are God's gift to this world.
Absolutely.
We are God's gift to this world. Her mother took this granddaughter.
Yes.
What else can she do?
Take her.
And took as her own. I was breastfed by my grandmother. I was,
Where?
Yes.
She got milk.
She had to. But interestingly,
Wow.
her last daughter, my grandma's last child, her and I are like sisters because we were very close. You see, so she's only like 2 years older than I.
Right.
So I guess it wasn't impossible to
For
force
her
the
to-
milk to come out.
But I hear,
Yeah.
by the way, a woman, if you take a child and start breastfeeding, somehow, even if you've never given birth, milk will come.
Yeah.
Don't try it at home.
Go No, women, God designed us
In
for
a fabulous
way.
Right.
We just don't know the power we have. So here I am. I was raised by my grandma. And what I remember of my childhood is a very, very happy childhood. I don't remember the challenges that came with my mother bringing a baby home. I mean, I got to be told as stories how my grandfather was extremely upset, how my grandma had to move from the main house because grandpa didn't want noise, he didn't want this shame, and she had to move out of the house into the kitchen behind, and she slept there with me. That's where we slept, with my grandma, you know. But all in all, time is a healer. Time is a healer.
Did you feel that rejection?
I didn't. At that point,
You were
I
too
didn't.
little.
I was
Yeah.
too little to
Yeah.
feel that.
Right.
My grandpa died early, so I really didn't get to know him that much. So I was raised by a widow by all means. So I don't remember much of my grandpa, but my grandma is now the woman who I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was raised by a widow. That comes with its own challenges, but we'll talk more about that probably. Has a lot to do with what I do even in my community service. But I remember a happy childhood generally because I was my grandmother's purse. She did not leave me
Wherever she went.
wherever she went. In fact, we had 2 farms in 2 different towns. Let's say Nakuru and maybe Nairobi, somewhere in
Right.
Nairobi.
Right.
So what she used to do is she used to travel to Nakuru, do some farming, sleep there for 3 days, come back to Nairobi, do some, you know, whatever, cleaning, and you know, so it was in between. But because we had to shuffle in between, I used to go to 2 schools. At any given time, I was in 2 schools.
What?
Yes, when I go to Nakuru, I go to
No,
Nakuru
I've never had that. Have you ever
primary
had?
school.
No.
I must
That's
be,
deep.
No, I must be the only person in the world.
Ah,
who
honestly?
I've never heard of such a
That
thing.
when you go to a certain town,
When I go
you're
to
in a
Nakuru,
school.
I'm in Nakuru primary school. When you come to Nairobi, you are in Nairobi primary school.
For a few days.
For a few days. For as long as we are in that town, I'm in this primary school. But isn't that powerful?
No, this is special.
No, it's
I've
extremely
never had
special.
it.
It's extremely
Wow.
special but very powerful.
Wow, yes.
It means a woman will make anything work. This child has to go to school,
And I can't leave her behind.
and I cannot leave her with anybody.
Wow.
I cannot leave her with anybody. She has
Wow.
to go to school,
Right.
and whatever it takes to convince those principals that if when I'm here, can she come to school for 3 days? Then when I'm there, can she come to school for 3 days? What does it take to
She's
do
a
that?
very wise woman.
No, she's extremely resourceful.
I would need to talk to her to find out what did you tell them. She needs to be a woman without limits.
Resourceful.
Like, what did you tell them? You know?
She's extremely
Wow.
resourceful, and that for me is who I am. Whenever I'm faced with something, there must be a way out. There must be a way out, and guess what? It does not have to be conventional.
Whatever needs to be
Whatever
done.
needs to be done to make this work, it will work.
Come on, somebody. I love that.
It will work.
I love
It
that.
will work.
So wherever life finds you,
Yes.
you find your way out
I
of
will-
it.
It will work. If my grandmother could convince
2 schools to accommodate you. No,
so
that's
I would
deep.
have 2 uniforms, 2 different uniforms.
Right.
This one is green, this
Yeah.
one is blue. So the days I forgot to carry my blue uniform, I would wear the green one. But I worked like that, and so my life, I knew discomfort. I knew how to operate in an unconventional environment early, because even as a child, I stood out. I stood out as that child who's here 3 days and she's gone. I stood out as a child who wears the wrong uniform, but somehow she's tolerated.
She manages,
They
yeah.
don't- and they're foreigners. You
Yeah.
know? You're a foreigner because you come from the other town.
Yes.
So you're not really from here. And even where I really came from, I wasn't really from there, because they don't really see me either. They see me for 3 days, then I'm gone. So I never really belonged anywhere. And I grew up knowing how to manage these uncomfortable situations.
Wow.
For me, you can throw me anywhere,
And you will survive.
and I will
Like a
find my way.
cactus. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up with my grandma, and as I said, I remember a happy childhood because she protected me with her entire being. I was everything to her. And for my first decade, until I was 13 years old, is when I began my transition from my little village, Bukoba,
Yeah.
to now the rest of the world. But I think the grounding of this is who we are had already been instilled in me. The values. My grandma obviously was an extremely and is an extremely prayerful woman, a Catholic but extremely prayerful. So prayer for us was a part of who we are.
The order of the day.
Service is who we are. Even as a widow, even in her small capacity, she still gave. She gave and gave and gave. I used to remember we would come from these farms we used to go to dig, and and would come with cassava and sweet potatoes. And we eat cassava leaves. You Kenyans, we don't eat cassava leaves. But Tanzanians, we eat cassava leaves, we eat sweet potato leaves. Would come with all these things,
Wow.
would eat peas, and she would tell me now, go and take this to Mama so and so. Go and take this to Mama so and so. Go and take this to Mama so and so. So she would start distributing this produce to neighbors, but especially those she knew needed help.
Wow.
Yet, in my opinion, she needed help. But
And she was busy
whatever
distributing.
little she had,
Yeah.
she distributed it. So I also learned the art of giving and sharing very early. It has nothing to do with having more than enough. No,
It's an attitude.
no.
Yeah.
You give what you got.
Right.
You give what you
It's
got.
an attitude.
Yeah.
And it's an attitude of the heart.
Of the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe that the person who I am, because when people ask me, who is Nana beyond all this? I describe myself in 2 words, family and service. That's me.
You only count stars at night. Somebody is in a night season right now. God is saying in this your night season, I want you to begin to count the blessing of the Lord that maketh rich and addeth no sorrow with it.
Hello there. I'm inviting you for the Daughters of Zion meeting. It's going to be on 27th of May. Now, if you want to know how the Daughters of Zion meetings have been, you better find out.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So just say, beautiful.
In your night season, God is speaking over your life. It doesn't matter how dark it is. The stars, if you can number them, then you can number where God is taking you.
Don't miss it for anything. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
It's not what you possess out here that makes you beautiful. It's what you possess on the inside. I am a peacemaker, but y'all know what a peacemaker is? A peacemaker is somebody who declares war on anything that disturbs their peace. And the minute you mess up my peace,
You only count stars at night. Somebody is in a night season right now. God is saying in this your night season, I want you to begin to count the blessing of the Lord that maketh rich and addeth no sorrow with it.
Hello there. I'm inviting you for the Daughters of Zion meeting. It's going to be on 27th of May. Now, if you want to know how the Daughters of Zion meetings have been, you better find out.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So just say, beautiful.
In your night season, God is speaking over your life. It doesn't matter how dark it is. The stars, if you can number them, then you can number where God is taking you.
Don't miss it for anything. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
Family and service.
So tell me now, so you've grown up, you grew up you went to school, finished.
Now to Lusaka. My mom now was based in Lusaka, and I moved to Lusaka.
So when did you join your mom?
13 years old. Okay. Moved to Lusaka.
Do you know her? Who is she to? Is she
No.
Are you like, who is this now? Because you're used to your grandmother.
I called my grandmother Mama, because my auntie, the last born, called her Mama.
Yeah.
And obviously I also called her Mama, and she's the only Mama I ever knew.
Right.
So I grew up calling my grandma Mama. Now I have to go to my Mama. So it was, hence began my confusion in transition. I always knew I had my mom because, yes, she would come once in a while. But as a child, my grandma was still my Mama.
Right.
This other Mama was, yes, another Mama, but
Another,
this is
just
my
another
Mama.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the origin. Yeah.
Anyway, so I moved to
Right.
Lusaka to join my mom and my siblings. Because my mom
Who
now
you are
was,
now meeting.
yes.
Yo. Okay.
Yes. So I joined my mom and my siblings. And, in this small village called Bukoba, we speak only 2 languages. We speak Swahili and we speak Kihaya, which is our local mother tongue.
It's called Kihaya.
Kihaya.
It must be a small.
I told you,
Yeah.
you don't think you can find it on Google
I
Maps?
know. Kihaya. I've
Kihaya.
never even heard.
So here I am in Lusaka, in this posh city, and I'm thrown into this posh school, St. Mary's. Whoa.
Ooh,
I don't have the language.
culture shock.
I look different.
Yes.
My hair is different. My looks are different. I cannot speak. My mom, of course, tried to get me tuition at home so that I could learn English, but it was just not the same. So every time I would put up my hand to answer something, even if I know the answer, you know, like maths does no language. I know the answer.
Right.
But you see, when I get up to speak, the way I articulate what I want to express, the kids would burst out in laughter.
Comedy. Churchill show.
In
Churchill live has
In
arrived.
fact, they used to love me standing up to say something. They would
Because it
even
was a break
encourage
for
me.
them
Yes,
to
it
laugh.
was like break time. They would encourage me to get up, and somebody would even give me the answer just so that I can get up and speak. Entertainment galore.
The accent would
That
kill
was-
them.
it would kill them. That was
Right.
one. Secondly, I looked very different from them. They had this nice, clean look, and they just looked so polished.
Right.
And I just looked like,
A Shags Mondo.
yes, where I'd come from. So I would go through, people can be mean.
And you know, kids, they are so honest that it hurts. Yeah.
No, at
you
that
know?
age, they are mean.
They are mean, yeah.
You know,
Kids
those are
can be
teenagers
mean,
now.
yeah.
They are mean. So sometimes I would walk into class and I would find they have written on the blackboard, "She is so ugly."
Nana, with all your pretty self, seriously?
No, to encourage people that where you are today has nothing to do with tomorrow. It has nothing. Okay?
Oh my.
It has nothing.
So
But
they
I
would
was-
say that.
They would not say
They
it.
would write it
But
down.
you'd feel it, you'd hear it. As you pass them in groups, you'd hear these little,
Yeah.
you know? It's a whisper, but it's a loud whisper. You know, they want you to hear, but it's a whisper. And this, you know, the board, you know, and the teacher would come and find this thing written on the board, and he would know it's me, you know. So later on, he would call me or she would call me and counsel me, you know, on, you know, don't worry, everything will be fine, you're beautiful, you're strong, you know, you're intelligent, and I was a good artist, and so they would encourage me. But I was also a very strong young lady, in the sense that even with all that culture shock and rejection and feeling lost and confused, I still walked with my head high. I mean, it hurt, trust me, it did hurt. But I kept going back to school. I kept walking with my head high. I never cried in public. I cried when I was home, but in school I never cried.
Did you tell your
I
mom?
would tell, yes, I did. I would you know, tell myself that, you know, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what, you know, I would talk myself positively. And I rode through that. I remember I had my best friend called Lorraine. Oh, Lorraine. Lorraine was from Estonia.
Yeah.
Lorraine was an Estonian version of Bukoba. The only difference between Lorraine and I is that she was white, but she was from the shags of white people. She had this big hair that looked like steel wool. And she had thick eyebrows. She had, but Lorraine and I, we were the rejects of we were the rejects of St. Mary's.
So you connected.
So we connected. We had our breaks together, And if Lorraine didn't come to school, I would eat break alone. You know, imagine nobody would eat break with me. I would eat break alone. And if I didn't come to school,
She would be
Lorraine
alone.
would eat break alone.
Oh no.
So Lorraine,
Yeah.
Lorraine and I, we were the rejects
Yes.
of the posh St. Mary's school, and we gravitated towards each other.
Right.
But interestingly, in life, isn't that how it is? Eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
If-
Rejects follow each other.
Rejects follow each
Yeah.
other.
And the status
Leadership
quo.
attracts
Those
leadership.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And there's a class.
And it's a lesson that if you feel that you're a reject, that's what you also attract. You know, it's a lesson.
It's true.
You know, at that point in life, I felt like a reject.
Yeah.
That's what I was feeling. That was I experienced, and that's what I was projecting.
If you feel rejected, you
Yes.
attract it. If you feel
Yes.
unloved, you attract it.
So I re-
If you that's exactly what happens to
That's
you.
how it is in life. And
Yeah.
it took me my entire life to undo that and get to a point where
You
I am
accept.
worthy,
Yeah.
I am strong, I've got something to say, I'm a leader, I can, you know.
You're beautiful.
I'm beautiful. It took me that. And with that, I attract the same kind of minded people around me. So it's a good lesson. Take a check of yourself and what you feel about yourself. You will attract that. But the good thing is this skill is learned. It's learned.
Through that pain.
Once you already know that what I'm attracting is not who I want to be, now you unlearn that and you learn how to project and how to feel what you want to feel.
Right.
And you attract that
The
person.
positive.
Yes.
You reject the negative.
Reject the negative.
So you stayed in that
St. Mary's
with Lorraine.
with Lorraine.
Uh-huh.
But by the end of high school, I was, you know, had gotten my confidence back. I had found myself and began, you know, to stand up for myself and to feel really good about myself by the end of high school. I wanted to get into IT and work with computers and so on. My mom wanted me to go into medical school. Now, something happened in between my last year in high school and university. I had traveled to visit some relatives in South Africa. But just to take you a little bit back, my sister, who is the late, was epileptic. And we used to know that she should not miss her medicine. She used to take a pill every day to, you know, to
Keep her
contain
from convulsions, yeah.
her convulsions. And if she missed maybe 2 in a row, she would get the convulsions, and they were pretty, pretty bad. So this time I'm on holiday. My sister was very, very prayerful, and they had joined what is called, gosh, do I remember the name? I've forgotten. A certain Christian scientists and Scientology, something like that. This group of people believed that you do not take medicine. You trust in the good Lord to heal you. It was not just my sister who joined this group, it was also my mom, the two of them. They were very strong in their beliefs, stronger than me. And somehow this Christian Scientology, they seemed to connect with it. They even started going to this church. I personally continued, I and my brother continued to go into a Catholic church, but they went to this Scientologist church. Now, apparently, while I was away, for some reason, they decided that the reason that my sister was not getting well, despite the prayers and so on, was because she didn't trust the Lord enough to surrender her life to Him so that He could heal her. Anyway, long story short, they decided that my sister would move in to the leader's home so that he could now take over the prayers and guide her, and finally she could get healing. So she moved in with my mom's consent. She moved in to this couple's home, and she stayed with them for 2 weeks. But in those 2 weeks, her condition deteriorated because she stopped taking the pill.
Wow.
Well, that was the condition, that you gotta surrender your medicine and
And
trust.
be properly saved.
Yes, be properly saved indeed. And she did that, and her condition deteriorated. The convulsions and got to exceedingly dangerous. By the time they were calling my mom to come and get her, she was a vegetable. She was and this is only 2 weeks. She was a vegetable because the convulsions, when she convulse, or any epileptic person, your heart, it stops. Every time it convulses, your heart stops. So the more that happens, the more you put a strain on your heart. By the time they're calling my mom, come, she was a vegetable. A vegetable. My mom, of course, did go, rushed her to hospital, called me to come home. By the time I got there, she was gone.
What?
Just like that.
Just like that.
Like
Because she was
gone.
not supposed to take any medicine.
Any medicine.
Oh no. Wow. How many years younger was she than you?
3.
3. Okay.
2 things happened. I was angry. I was so angry. I was angry at my mom because I said, as a medical doctor,
Why? How now?
how?
Yeah.
And yet at home, I used to be reprimanded for not keeping up with the schedule of her medicine. If I forget, to remind her to take her medicine, I would be whooped. Because, she's my sister, she's my responsibility. I cannot forget because I know the consequences. But she allowed my sister to go to these people for 2 weeks and not take her medicine. I could not begin to
Comprehend.
even want
Yeah.
to accept, to think, it just didn't make sense. Secondly, what kind of God is this? What kind of God is this? How would a child trust you with her life for you to save her? And you let her down? You ignore her? What kind of God is this? For me, that was the end. I just could not see how this is the God that we trust.
It's not what you possess out here that makes you beautiful. It's what you possess on the inside. I am a peacemaker, but y'all know what a peacemaker is? A peacemaker is somebody who declares war on anything that disturbs their peace. And the minute you mess up my peace,
A lot of people start something, but hardly do they finish. There's a lot of things in life that start and never finish. Education, marriages, buildings, homes, schools. There's so many things that just start. Even writing books, you can start something and hardly many people finish. May that not be told of you. Bishop has written a very, very, very powerful book. It's called Finishing Strong. It's better to not start something than to start and leave it halfway. When you start something, you better be ready to finish it. Finishing strong means that you pay the price. You fight the good fight of faith until at the end of the day, you finish. And that's why Christ says, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Why? For finishing the race. Get this book, Finishing Strong by Bishop Alan Kiuna. It's going to bless you.
I'm Gadoni, and I'm a worship leader and a recording artist. I have collaborated on a few projects with Talanta Institute, and this gives me the confidence that it is the place to be for all talents. Talanta Institute is at the forefront of unveiling champions.
The Woman Without Limits magazine April edition is out. It tackles relationships issues by Robert Grade, dysfunctional families, amazing travel and holiday packages by Holiday Bazaar, property ownership by Home Africa, business directory, among others. It's available at Jumia, Educate Yourself Bookshop at Westgate and Greenspan Malls, New Day Bookshop, Textbook City at Capital Center, Biblica at Nakmat Mega. To advertise your products or services on this magazine, please call the numbers on the screen.
You only count stars at night. Somebody is in a night season right now. God is saying in this your night season, I want you to begin to count the blessing of the Lord that maketh rich and addeth no sorrow with it.
Hello there. I'm inviting you for the Daughters of Zion meeting. It's going to be on 27th of May. Now, if you want to know how the Daughters of Zion meetings have been, you better find out.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So just say, beautiful.
In your night season, God is speaking over your life. It doesn't matter how dark it is. The stars, if you can number them, then you can number where God is taking you.
Don't miss it for anything. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
You are worthy of praise. You are worthy of glory. You are worthy of power. You are worthy of worship. Lord, we love you. Lord, we adore you. We bless your holy name, Jesus. You are worthy. You are great, oh God. Father, there is no one like you.